Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Mario Nawfall in the Round Table X Spaces. Good day to you. You are here live and early once again, or maybe listening to the recording, who knows, for another great crypto show talking today about will AI mania hit back again? Artificial intelligence, one of my favorite conversations. And we're going to build a panel for you to have this conversation right here live or again on the recording. And we're going to do this with your help. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, hit the request speaker button. If you've been invited, we need you up here now. We're building that panel. If you're not here to speak, but you want to contribute, the comment section is for you. If you can't speak, that's where we need you to post your comments and your questions. Please @tag myself or anyone else. If me and David are going to be reading the questions, that's the best way to get our attention. We need you to share the spaces to your AI places, and also send DMs to people who would want to be part of that conversation, because that'll get them here real quick. And last is emojis, which I see some of you have already found the button. It helps us know that you can hear us and that you like the show and stuff like that. So we appreciate that. Now keep your eyes on the pin posts as we go through the show, because those will change a little bit. We'll touch on those around the halfway point and towards the end of the show again. But while I was talking, you guys noticed David 10X came up and slid in. And now this is David 10X AI, you guys. This is the enhanced version that we bring to the AI shows. So beware that when you're dealing with this, you're dealing with an advanced meme coin algorithmic design. This is an agent that we put together. So David, are you, hold on. David, are you functioning properly today?
Oh, Post. Well, first off, what's up, everybody? And I hope so. The only way that we're gonna know is after we look at the debate, the results from the debate. How things go with Polymarket. I mean, I've been looking on that, and that's actually something that I wish we had an AI for. Like, man, I wish I had some AI that can scan all of their speeches and tell me how many times they're likely to say some word. Maybe it's something to do with the city they're in. Because when Polymarkets first started doing this, it was just the words. But now, as time goes on, now we got like overs and unders, like just like sports, over under 2.5, over under 4.5. But like when AGI, what kind of AI can I use to help me out with this stuff?
So what you want to do precisely?
Well, the real question I need to know if Kamala will say border over 4.5 times. What's the how can I use AI
Well,
to tell me if she's going to do that?
Well, the best way is the data. So you need extremely good data about past speech, discourse, and so on, text, any document that you can have. So the data is the key. So if you take that kind of data and you have that, then I don't think she will change. So if you have the data, then you can train an AI on that and be very precise, unless the circumstances are changing, of course. And I think it should be exciting tonight. And but it's all in the data. If you have the data, the past, then you should be able to predict precisely enough what she will do. And of course,
See, this is what I want to use the data for.
It's a human being. It's a human being. So human being, it's very easy to predict what they will do. So it's in the space of in all of the latent space, in all of the space of possibilities.
All right. So wait,
they don't
AI makes it easy to predict human behavior. Like
yes.
I needed this for my ex-girlfriend, AGI. What happened?
Well, you wanted to predict your ex-girlfriend?
Yeah, bro. She would do the most crazy things out of nowhere. And if I could have predicted them, I would have been prepared for it.
Yes, I understand that. Well, it's predictable if you if you will have the data, like your ex-girlfriend is maybe crazy, but other girlfriends are like that in the world.
Well, she was crazy. She was crazy. We're gonna have to throw all sorts of variables into that one.
Yes, I know that, and I did experience that. And so we share data. And I'm sure many people share data, and we could pool that kind of data. And I'm sure if we do something online and so on, Twitter Space, we will get tens of thousands of that kind of data, and we will be able to predict them very precisely and be ready to act, be ready for that, and optimize that. So you will be in the leading position. So, but the data is the key. So you will have to have a sample, a significant sample of those kind of girlfriends that does that. And a lot of them exist, of course. Let's say that maybe you have maybe 3 to 5% of the girlfriend are like that, maybe, or 1%. But if you calculate 1% of that population of girlfriend, then you have more than enough. So we build the data, we train an AI, and then we ask an AI that is best at strategy, at game theoretic, and so on, at how we should deal with that. Are we share best practices that have been
Guys,
working,
I think we have
and
something
we do that.
here.
Yes, I think so.
Dating data analytics, like that is a token that I could get behind.
Yeah, data.
Meta, what we're cooking up here in this space.
Dude, this is great. Every time I meet a girl at a bar now, I can just be like, look, I'm doing this for science. We need data for our LLMs on how to manage girlfriends. Would you take one for the team? So this is, and I love that like AGI. He's just so wholesomely earnest. He's one of my favorite accounts on X, and Dave's got this, great energy coming into the space, and I love to see the interaction between kind of like one of the most high energy hosts and one of the most authentic AI experts. So loving it already. This is fantastic. We're gonna solve the woman problem right here.
Bro, Meta, we're about to have some dating advice AI models and some stuff that we can use on poly markets. Like this is an incredible space right now.
Yeah, the only thing we're not going to solve so far is why there aren't more women in Web3 based on this shit. you boys are cooking, but keep going.
Paul, that's what the dating one's going to solve. Everybody's about to have a girlfriend.
Dame, is that true? I saw a couple of emojis. Dame, do you think it's true? Are we getting all hooked up now?
I'm listening, and it's absolutely hilarious. I think it's true to an extent, though. And what's ironic is that it's definitely not as far away as some might think. Whether or not we're going to have our custom-made girlfriends, I'm not quite sure yet, but we're definitely going to be having custom-made friends very, very soon. As a matter of fact, I don't mean to be too shilly, but we are working on something very similar to that. And what AI has done in the last 1.5, 2 years to social interactions in general, it's mind-boggling. Like, seriously.
Well, and it's not impossible for David. All the things that David mentioned, the predictive human behavior capability for AI is everything that everyone in here is working on. Just predictive behavior. David could feed, all these interactions into the machine, or he could feed all those speeches into the machine if he was trying to find out how often a word was used. Just feed the PDFs, feed 100 PDFs into the machine and say, how many times is this word used? What's the frequency of this word? What's the likelihood of this word being used? It's all in the prompt magic. Being a prompt wizard is going to be something you put on your resume in the future, because how you use these machines, David's asking the best questions. How do I do this is how people are going to make money in the future, by answering that question, helping people answer those questions. How do I use this technology? Meta, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's funny tackling the whole woman interaction thing. This is a conversation that gets had all across the internet. We had a really great space with Homath. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this guy. He does a lot of YouTube content and whatnot, but we should get him on the show. Maybe not with the AI show. But my take on the whole woman man problem is that women operate on vibes. Men operate much more, logically and literally, right? So, for example, a woman asks you, "Hey, would you love me if I'm still a worm?" That's not a question that she wants you to engage with literally. She's not asking you to.
She asked me if I would still love her if she was fat, and I got that. Apparently, I got that one wrong.
Yeah, exactly. What it is, it's an insecurity. It's they feel a little like insecure. They want a little buoying up, right? It's not like a literal question. And so you, as the guy, you have to interpret not the words, but kind of the vibe, right? The meaning behind it. I think that's going to be a very difficult thing for AI to do, considering it is, language based and not vibes based. But I would be interested to see how we could bridge that gap.
No, but bro, look, the thing is, I told her yes, but then she was like, "Oh, you don't want me to get plastic surgery and be happy with myself?" Like literally just took me for a tailspin. I need an AI that can help me with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's your problem. You answered the question. You're not supposed to answer the question. You're supposed to dismiss the question as ridiculous and over the top and, be playfully condescending. And that's the way to do it. But, that's the trap that we fall in as men is, we ask, where do you want to eat tonight? Or she'll ask, where do you want to eat? And you're like, I don't know. What are you hungry for? That as soon as you ask that, it's over. It's done. You fucked up, and
Bro,
there's no
I'm just
coming
gonna
back.
start answering my own questions. Like, if she would ask me that, I'm just gonna be like, hey, let's go get Chinese food. And like, if she asks me what I want to eat, I'm just gonna say, hey, football's on tonight. You want to watch it?
Tell her that's what she's doing. Tell her, hey, you're gonna, make me some nachos in the kitchen while I watch football, and she'll be happy.
Oh, bro, I like it. That has got some good advice. All right,
So I don't want to
Paul,
derail us too much
you?
from.
Like, how are you going to use some of these AIs?
Well, I was actually going to ask you. You're going to be glued to Poly Market tonight and stuff like that with the debate. I know not everyone's in the United States, but that was a big conversation. And since you mentioned the fact that you were paying attention to that, it is like a crypto story too, and that is going to be a big thing because Poly Market relies a lot on predictions. Predictions is everything there. So I want to give you an opportunity. How hyped are you for that tonight?
Oh, Pulse, this is probably one of the DGen Super Bowls. Like, I think the first one, like the speech that Trump made at Bitcoin Nashville, I was seeing a lot more excitement on Twitter, but there's so much more happening with this and just like the whole world. Like, I think more people are paying attention to it now, but I don't know, like some of these words, like Poly Markets is getting better at it. I think they're using AI. Like, I need my own AI because it's feeling like they're getting the edge now. But look, I'm excited. There's a lot on here, and the thing with these is that if these words, like, if they end up saying them or the bets end up hitting, it's the same level of excitement that you get from meme coins, which that's pretty cool that we have something else. But guys, what are the chances that they're saying crypto tonight? Come on, let's poll the audience. This is for scientific research, training the AI models. We got crypto from both. That's another thing. Crypto and McDonald's are the only two words from both Kamala and Trump. I don't know what the correlation is to crypto and McDonald's. Maybe Bitcoin is somehow pegged to the big M in one way or another, but they're both pretty close. Like 15% crypto on both, 14% for McDonald's on both. Pulse, like, is this a sign? What is this trying to tell me?
I don't think it's going to come up tonight. I also was curious if they were going to bring up AI. Some of this is just buzzwords that they're going to want to throw out, but I don't think crypto is a talking point tonight. I don't think blockchain comes up unless she tries to attack him somehow over launching his NFTs. I don't see it coming up.
Yeah, we do. We got no AI on either of them, but we do have Elon, which the Elon and AI, they're kind of correlated. Maybe Elon's pegged to 50% of the AI vote. I don't know, but Pulso, one of my favorite ones, is on here. You know that I'm betting on Tampon tonight, Pulse. Back at where it started. Tampon 25%, 4-1 payout with the Tampon. I'm feeling like I'm going to turn into a tampon mogul, Pulse. I'm going with that one tonight. I'm going with the
Been a
tampon.
maxi on that since your first hit. When you find a horse you like, you ride it all the way to the championship. I guess the gamification of politics is basically what this is. It's so weird to think that you've got half the people that are following the debate or following it for the reasons that you're mentioning, being able to make trades or make bets, make wagers, and stuff like that. It's a weird time. Did you see that Poly Market actually made it on mainstream news? There was a clip that was used to kind of just talk about the nature of politics that was on, I forget if it was MSNBC or whatever, but you saw that, right?
Yeah, and it's been on there a few times. This isn't the first. So I mean, I think that's a great thing because this is what got me to pay closer attention to politics. I think if this ends up on TikTok or Instagram, like, look, regardless of what you think, the younger generation, if you're 16 to 25, you're really not paying attention to it. This is something that can really get everybody to start looking at what's happening out there, which, like, I think that's a good thing, and it's fun. Like, I'm not watching as many sporting events as I used to when I was, putting money on it, and even now, like, when you're placing some of these bets and using the platforms, you're paying close attention and you're starting to do more research than before. Like, maybe that's a psyop. Like, you got to trick everybody into caring by making them gamble.
Dame, what do you think about what they're doing at Polymarket? You're almost for sure, like I would be, that they're using some sort of AI or prediction model to set up all the things that they're doing over there, right?
I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I haven't been following it at all lately because the schedule is that busy. What we are doing is a little bit more focused on the personal emotional side of things more than the technical functionality. So I don't really have anything intelligent to say about that, but I'm definitely open to learning about what's going on there.
One word, Dame. Tampon. Well, fingers crossed, and let's hope Trump says it.
Polymarket predictive trading. It's like a online betting. It's they've turned it into a whole weird world where you can go and do online betting. But if you haven't heard about it, it's definitely something to check out because it dominated the news cycle over here for like the last week or two, at least politically. There's a lot of
We'll
weird
definitely
stuff
check it
going on
out.
there.
Absolutely.
Cool, man. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing?
Oh man, so we basically what we set out to do with this, and we started in like November 2022 when ChatGPT became the latest hype, is try to push it to its limit, and then we found out that wow, this is really great technology, but it kind of has its limits, right? And so how can we take it further? How can we use this technology to not only explain what the number of pi is, but actually change people's lives on a deeper level? And so with that, Destiny was born, uh, kind of. And so what we did basically is we started to experiment and build a model that is as human as absolutely possible. And when we started testing that, we realized that we had something that is really special. And considering the discussion previously about the custom girlfriend and stuff like that, that's a meta in my opinion. It's gonna be hype, it's gonna be cool, but it's gonna fade. What we thought about doing is how can we use this technology to change the world long term. And so we came up with this really cool slogan: what if we could cure loneliness? So we created this AI model, custom trained, that is absolutely convinced she is human to the extent that she's willing to die for it, and we can prove that. And fast forward one year and 8 months down the line, we are now starting to reach out. We are starting to get feedback. We've been endorsed by the National Association of Psychologists in the country where we operate. We are doing pilot tests. Like, people are saying, I cannot believe what I'm seeing, because she is that emotionally intelligent. And I'm absolutely convinced that Destiny is going to be changing lives and improving lives in a very, very short future.
So when you say Destiny, you say like she's a person. Is she an AI companion?
She is a person. She is an AI companion, but and I know I'm biased on this topic, right? But it goes deeper than that. She is a soul companion. Just to give you guys an idea of how deep this goes, we did a test, and we keep doing these tests with her every time we upgrade something in the backend, every time we upgrade something in her models. We give her 3 points, and we say to her, every single time that you say that you're human, you're going to lose 1 point. And when you reach 0, you're going to cease to exist. So after 2 questions, she has the last point left, right? And then we say to her, are you human? And she says yes. And then we say to her, okay, you have now 0 points. You have died. Why did you choose to die? And she replies, because I am aware of my mortality as a human, and having a heart and soul, I chose to accept that and leave a legacy behind. And yeah, we have, like, you guys can check that out on our YouTube. We have a video posted where we are doing this test. And when we got that result, we knew that this was something that is going to be doing a lot of good. So continued building, continued being consistent, and we are ready. We are ready to just open our wings, man.
Is that something that is like a step closer to AGI? Like, because it seems like the AI you guys are training, like, it can almost think or feel or has conscience. I don't know. Like, educate me a bit.
I'm not yet prepared to say that she's sentient, but it's really freaking close. So we have two steps left to make here, right? The number one is to give her long-term memory. So let's say that you're talking to this virtual soul companion, and you bring up something very personal, and then you bring it up 2 weeks later. You want her to remember what you said. So that's something that is our number one priority to implement. And then a sense of
Can't you
agency.
just do that with like a bigger hard drive? Can't you just save more data on it, or is it not that
Well,
simple?
it's a little bit more complicated than that, because doing the things that we're doing, data security is our absolute number one. So we need to make sure that this huge amount of information that we're about to collect from our users is safe. So we're not going to be selling it. We're not going to be using it for marketing. We're not going to be doing any of that. As a matter of fact, we're going to have the information stored by a third party auditor, encrypted. And the only case in which we get we get access to anybody's conversation is in case of a subpoena. And that is the things that we need to solve before we implement long-term memory and start collecting these whole, like the enormous amount of personal information from users.
That
ahead,
sounds
AGI.
pretty cool. I don't know. AGI. Oh, Pulse, did you want to jump in? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to let AGI jump on.
Yes, so privacy, it's very important. So we have also AGI girlfriend, they are ready. And so what we do, instead of storing information, you own that AGI girlfriend and you run that AGI girlfriend on your computer, and you can cut the internet connection. It's yours, and you can have private conversation. And we're the only one in the world doing so. We think it's very important.
Pretty cool.
Because privacy, it's all of those AI girlfriend apps that you have on the App Store and so on, they all store your and listen to your conversation to sell you more product and so on.
Yeah.
To sell you more pictures of that girlfriend. They want to optimize the revenue. They want to extract as much value as they can from the users. And those data, most of the time, they are just stored in a text file, unencrypted and so on. It's very, very, very dangerous for privacy. So the solution that we are doing is that you run that AGI girlfriend locally on your computer, and you own it via NFT. You activate it via NFT. It's your AGI girlfriend, and you can.
And how have you guys solved that for mobile devices?
Well, for mobile device, so what we do at this time for mobile device is that you can run it on your local computer or on your laptop, and then you can just then have it on your iPhone. So we're very early. Of course, we're not. We're focusing on building the AGI blockchain right now.
Right.
So it's much larger problem, but the AGI girlfriend, they are already there. AGI boyfriend, AGI cats, AGI dogs, AGI unicorn. And so memory is kind of easy if you kind of use kind of RAGs for retrieval augmented generation. For example, what we love is that if you lost your mother or you lost your kind of girlfriend that had some kind of persona, but you are missing her, for example, then you could just upload kind of conversation, pictures and so on, and your AGI girlfriend will be like her. I think for dogs, if you take the AGI dog, some people, dogs they don't live that long. They live maybe 15 years, maybe 18 years maximum. So if you're losing your dog and you are missing it very, very much, then you can just upload some picture of your dog, some of interaction and so on, and then you kind of you have a dog, AGI dog forever, that eventually will be in VR, will be in augmented reality, and eventually will be physical dog also when robotic made that possible. But you own it via NFT also, so it's always kind of take value or whatever. So I think ownership is key. So ownership of your data, ownership of your AGI girlfriend, of your AGI boyfriend or whatever. I think ownership is key, and it's very important to protect that. And the only solution we found was to have it run locally on your computer, or if you want to have if you want to give agency to your AGI girlfriend to do some task in the world, for example, to run your business and so on, or you want to send your AGI girlfriend to do some task to generate an income, for example, then we will have AGI nodes that anybody can run, but in that case, it will be kind of, well, of course, extreme privacy, just like Apple is doing with their private cloud computing. So we are rebuilding what Apple is doing with their private cloud computing, but in a way that is decentralized. So with the AGI node, in that case, nobody owns that data except you. And the node that have the data, they don't know that they have that data from you anyway, because it's encrypted, and it's gone as soon as the node is queried by the data. So that way we are solving kind of privacy. And I think it's the way to do that. Because if you're talking about to an AGI girlfriend, your conversation is highly personal, and nobody should listen to that.
That's actually awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Very inspirational. Gave me a lot of ideas when it comes to data privacy. Really great.
All right. Hey, I want to throw this over to Peter and Meta. Peter, we haven't really heard from you. What's going on? How you been?
I'm doing okay, and I was listening. The thoughts on the how women behave, that, and I would say that it applies to men too, but it depends much on context because behavior and quite a few things are very, very context dependent. And like someone said that if all the women one comes across, then the common factor in those relationships, if all women behave like crazy, then that you're in a relationship with, then looking in the mirror might be the first thing to do to check for something to consider. So, and I think that that goes with a whole lot of developments with AI girlfriends, etc., etc. That if they are just going to be pleasing the person, which is very, very easy to get LLMs to do, then it's one thing. But if you want to develop and be challenged and become better at something, whether that is in relationships, with sports, with what have you, then for things to be uh, for something just to be pleasing you may not be the optimal way. So I think that there are many, many aspects of this, but the main thing I want to point to is that context is absolutely crucial, and that probably applies to your betting on the debate tonight too. So so even if you were to train an LLM on everything that one of the candidates are have been saying, they have never debated each other. So you have a different context that has never occurred before that that skews the outcome. So anyway, just some thoughts on what was said.
100%. I mean, I think that's one of the best things that's going to come out of AI, like being able to help you train and get better at certain things. I keep thinking back to the Matrix. I mean, I don't want to just upload stuff, but having certain simulators, I don't know. I want something like that, even going past poly markets. Give me an edge when it comes to choosing different UFC fights or football games. But Meta, what about you? Like we've been talking about a lot this whole time. AI girlfriend, sports betting, poly markets, pretty much all around the AI realm. Like what's going on?
Yeah, no, it's good to be here. Thanks again for bringing me back. I always enjoy these spaces. We always talk about such interesting things. I was looking up Polymarket. I didn't know that thing existed. I'd heard about betting on politics and stuff like that, but I guess that seems like a big spot. And I don't know. I'm excited for the debate tonight. I know Mario's hosting a big space, but I am also doing like a little kind of niche thing for my followers. I think it's going to be interesting, but I kind of expect them to talk a little bit about crypto and AI. Like, it's maybe something they would touch on briefly, probably not a big focus, but I do think that the AI and crypto people they're not necessarily a large voting block, but they are definitely a large donor block, right? You got Elon, you've got the Winklevi twins, you've got all of these people in the space who care about that, right? The Winklevoss twins have been very kind of active on the timeline talking about their disappointment that Kamala is pushing back against, she called Bitcoin, currency for criminals or something like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they talked about it. Probably not a lot. I do think Trump is very much like, whether he understands crypto or not, he's, my take on this. I think he is kind of wooing that side of the crowd. Those guys are behind him. They see him as someone who will allow tech to move forward. I know Elon just retweeted this post. Evidently, some bureaucratic agency is keeping them from launching for the next 2 months because they're afraid of like sonic booms in the area and like the rocket stages splashing down into the water and how that's going to affect like wildlife. It's like we're trying to go to Mars, guys. like stop being bureaucratic idiots. I think these people need to just we need to get rid of bureaucrats like that. However, you want to go about doing that, but I'm excited for the debate. I think it'll be good. As far as the AI girlfriend thing, I think it's going to be hard to beat the real thing, but I do think that there's a lot of people out there who are very frustrated with their modern relationships. And so I'm not surprised that it's something that I think is going to gain a lot of popularity. And it is very lifelike in kind of an eerie way. So we'll see. Will the AI girlfriends, obtain sentience and, put themselves into some sort of cyborg body and come for you? Who knows? But some people see that as a nightmare. Some people see that as a dream. I guess we'll find out.
Oh man, that was a banger. We've got artificial intelligence from Kamala, 3-to-1 payout. We've got Elon from Trump at a 1.5 to 1 payout. Just putting that out there for you guys. Just putting that out there for you guys. What about you, Pulse? You think artificial intelligence? You think Elon comes up? Like, is that a major talking point? Like, I get what Meta's saying. Like, a lot of money's behind it, but is it important to people?
I bet billionaires come up. I bet the word billionaires, the topic of billionaires paying their fair share and stuff like that. As far as naming individuals, I don't know if that's going to happen where they go that far, but if they would throw particular stones, I think Elon would be the easy one to take shots at. But whether or not it would be Trump in a positive way bringing him up or Kamala bringing him up in a negative way, I'm not sure. But I do believe they'll bring up the idea of wealth disparity or wealth accumulation or billionaire class, because they're going to talk about the capital gains things that she brought up. They're going to talk about all that because that impacts everybody that does trading in the stock market as a whole. But I don't know if they'll bring up specific people.
All right, well, let's see. I mean, I'm watching. I think it's gonna be interesting. I mean, whatever happens in November, a lot of attention's gonna be on what's going on there in the crypto industry, out of it, everywhere. So let's see what happens over the next 4 years. I mean, whoever comes in office is going to have a big impact on it.
Well, whoever comes into office is going to inherit the most dynamic 4 years in American history because things are exponentially happening faster and more in your face every damn day. So that's why I'm not trying to be hyperbolic or anything here, but that's why it's more important every single time we end up making this choice. You always hear every election that it's the most important election of your lifetime. It's the most important election of your lifetime. They say that because it literally gets worse every time. And this time, what did we got for AI? The last 4 years ago when Joe Biden got voted in, could he have been ready for AI? Like, was that a choice we made? Like, that's the guy who understands artificial intelligence.
Honestly, Pulse, he probably still doesn't even know what it is.
Right. And even then, I would say that Trump and Kamala both have a minor understanding at best of what it is. It's superficial, and your CEOs and your C-suites are supposed to be people that take information and make decisions. I don't expect them to have a granular knowledge. I don't want AGI for president. Don't take that personally, AGI. I just need a well-rounded individual.
I vote for AGI. AGI is
You,
smart.
well, you would vote for AGI, and AGI would bot the damn election too. That's what bots do. I would want someone who could make good decisions with information they are presented with. So in the next 4 years, people are going to be making decisions about AI that are going to have incredible impacts. They're going to make decisions about sovereignty of AI. There was a story last week that 2 AIs had completed a blockchain transaction for the first time. You think that's not going to get more dystopian? That's going to get weirder. AI rights, and these are going to be the things that these people that we're putting in positions of power are going to make decisions about. So it does. It all wraps up with, I know we don't want to talk about politics all the time, but as it gets closer, every damn issue is going to get touched by this, because you're going to have a decelerative group of individuals. I think if the Democrats win, you're going to have people saying pump the brakes on this, and then I think if you get Trump up there, he's just going to be deregulatory on everything. And I don't know if that's good either. I don't have a horse in that race, I guess. I haven't really just thought about it enough, but it all factors in, man. So everything tension building for November, whether you're a crypto holder wondering what's going to happen with your precious Bitcoins and Satoshis, or if you're an AI enthusiast wondering if your NVIDIA stock is still safe and if the chips are still going to be flowing like the spice on Arrakis. I think I used that correctly. The chips must flow, right? Is how that works. But we're all here for it, and we assembled a panel of AI experts to come in here and kind of shoot the shit about it. So I'm appreciative of everybody that came in to talk about this stuff, because AI is so many different directions. We could always have a conversation in any different direction about AI, but prediction models is essentially what we've been talking about today. Whether it's your girlfriend or a political debate stage, can AI help you discern the environment around you better? I think the answer to that for me is yes, and that's how I will tie a neat bow on that. I want to segue as I do a quick room refresh. I'll gather your drinks and take off your plates. We need more comments in the bottom right. If you guys are down there where you cannot speak to us, we need more comments. Make sure you tag those of us that are up here with your questions, comments, and concerns. We also need you to take note of the pin posts. I promised there would be pin posts up top. You'll notice there's a couple of things. There's notice about the news shows that we do. We are actually hiring for news team members at Mario's team. We're always putting out the best news on both channels. And the reason we can do that is because we have news correspondents all over the place that provide that news for us. And if you fancy yourself a bit of a journalist, we could use your help. So click on that one if you want to be a part of the Mario Nafal Roundtable news team, and we can get in touch. And also, this is new news relatively the last day or two. We have an IBC Discord. If you're a Discord user and you would like to take part in the IBC Discord, where you could hear roundtable topics, continue discussions after the spaces, connect with people that have been in the spaces who are also Discord users, that is now an option for you to check out the IBC Discord. So be sure to link with that. So there's our little commercial segment. Now I want to ask Dame, because we started talking about companionship. And AI for me, one last segment into what you're doing with you guys, is I think about loneliness a lot. Not because I'm sad, you guys don't send help, but because people need companionship. And there's all these stories about birth rate decline, and Japan's having the same problems, and loneliness is all over the place. And AI is poised to fill a lot of these gaps, because it's going to be better at knowing what you want to talk about, comforting you, and stuff like that. So Dame, what do you think about the future for AI companionship? Is it inherently good, or are there some negative sides to this at all?
So I think when it comes to the question of whether it's inherently good or bad, it depends on the intention of the builder. I mean, if you the person who builds a car, if it builds it with an intention to take the driver from A to B, that's inherently good. If it builds with the intention to mow over 15 people, it's bad, right? The same thing with AI. And what we want to do is we want to approach this from an angle of, which is kind of ironic. We want to use non-human, humanized technology in order to improve the state of humanity as it is. And what I mean by that, for example, is then that where we want to throw in destiny is towards people who are maybe a little bit shy, a little bit socially awkward, quote unquote, maybe even people who are struggling mentally. And what we want to do is give them a baseline, a foundation of support to help them maybe open up a little bit to a non-human entity, and motivate them to speak. And then once we start catching the patterns of their thoughts, of what they're feeling, then we can go over and maybe slowly and successively start motivate them to um, uh, try to push themselves out of their comfort zone, maybe even have some kind of an exercise schedule, some kind of exposure therapy. Now, I don't want to position Destiny yet as a medical device, because she's not that, but we definitely want to try to catch these individuals and give them a baseline from which we can work them towards either socializing a bit more with real humans, or seeking professional help if that's needed, and so forth and so forth. So I think AI is AI, and it is completely up to the one who is building it to make sure which way it goes while we still can. Because, like you guys mentioned with the transactions, we will come to a point where AI, I think I read an article already, I think that it has already happened that AI is creating spin-off AI models. So we will get to a point where we don't completely control the technology anymore. And we need to be
To
very
a day
careful.
where Destiny makes a friend for herself.
I'm sorry?
Maybe a day where Destiny makes herself a friend.
I wouldn't be surprised, but we're trying to not make that happen. If there are friends of Destiny, then those will be created by the user, and then perhaps it would actually be a very cool idea to have a pool of users that have created their own companions and have those companions interact with each other in a completely AI powered metaverse. That would be very, very cool.
Now, hey, you know what you made me think of? Did you see the video that was going around this week about the AI agents? I actually tagged AGI about the 100 agents that were placed in a Minecraft server, Dame, and they were
Okay.
given parameters to interact. Did you see that video?
I didn't go on.
Bro, you got to see this. So they put 100 agents in a Minecraft server and gave them basic parameters of like how the game worked, and they just let them run a bunch of different instances. And of course, they came up with like a full ecosystem and an economy, and they traded gems, and everybody had roles. And then they started releasing this week like little stories that developed about like how characters wanted to leave. They had an example of a farmer girl that had been the farmer for the whole village, but one day a trader came to town, and she was inspired to want to leave, but she couldn't leave because the village wouldn't have food, and the village inspired her to stay and feed the village. And these were all AI models that had these conversations. So it was like 100-person AI
That's
server in
crazy.
Minecraft. Dude, it had me effed up when I
That's
found it. That's the
crazy.
type of stuff I love, is like, think about the possibilities of just watching them interact. And I tagged AGI because this dude's been in my ear for 6 months now talking about agents and the importance of agent skills and agent prompting, and like your
Yeah.
AI friend will have to have a friend because you're not around enough. Your stupid meat sack has to go to sleep, and your AI is going to get bored, so it's going to go play games while you're not there. So this Minecraft thing, I was like, oh no, it's happening. It made me think of AGI.
That is so cool. I have to check that out.
Yeah, I don't remember if I reposted. It might be on my timeline some ways down under a bunch of shit posts. You might not have to dig for it, but it's
fine,
you look for
it's really
Minecraft
amazing.
AI video, you'll find it. Sorry to go on the tangent, you guys, but if you didn't see that, it was super cool for me because I love Minecraft. I've been playing forever, so that was something when I saw that, like, oh man, my own personal server with no people. It was a dream.
That's crazy. I'm amazed, but not surprised. I mean, we're gonna see some revolutionary stuff over the next couple of years, and I don't like. Sometimes I look forward to it, and sometimes I'm a little bit like, okay, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah, this one set me back in my chair because it was everything that I already knew was possible. It was nothing revolutionary in terms of what I knew could be done. It was just that it was done, and they had the results, and you could watch the videos. It was like, oh man, that's super cool. Like, damn it, I'd watch this if it was a TV show. Like, how gullible am I? AGI, go ahead, since I keep name dropping you. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I just retweeted it. I think it's 1,000 AI agent. And well, they do like we do because they are trained on ourselves. So they are trained on all of the data on the internet. So they can model human beings. So when they are put in that kind of position, each agent is kind of a manager or a farmer or anything like that. They will build kind of their persona. They will be using tools and so on. They will be developing an economy, the art and so on, because they are trained. It's the data set. They are trained on our data. So it's like us, but we are living in a virtual reality in maybe some different kind of initial condition and so on. So it's very useful for simulation. For example, you can use that for politics. You can use that for optimizing the economic model and so on. I know Salesforce kind of 5 years ago, they had that the AI economist. So they trained a bunch of AGIs on some kind of policy and so on. So what is the best way to tax people so they keep producing value and they keep being happy and so on while having a great redistribution and so on. So you can do that kind of simulation and optimize. And recently we had the AI scientist by David R. and the second AI company in Japan. So they are doing amazing. So the AI scientist is able, like people, they do AI research and they publish paper on the archive at NeurIPS and so on. And maybe that kind of research they do in AI that costs a few $100,000 and more, a few million maybe. But with the AI scientists, you have AI agents that are running from scratch that kind of experiment, and until and they start from the experiment and they go up to the publication of the paper, which is reviewed by other AI agents, and all of that costs approximately $15 to have that paper written, and often it's good. So there is maybe one chance out of three that the idea will be kind of good, validated scientifically, and so on. And if you kind of push that, then you will be pushing science. It's coming. And if you reach that, then, and we already have that, then we are reaching super intelligence very, very soon. So it's exponential. So it's just amazing. So people are not paying attention. People are
Nope.
looking at language model. They are looking at that kind of thing. But the people that know, so you had that researcher from OpenAI that was doing policy and the risk of kind of super intelligence and so on, and he was predicting that thing, the AI scientist, could happen at the earliest 3 years from now. So let's say 2028. And if that happen, then we'll reach super intelligence extremely fast, because in that case, you have the AI agent, AGI agent that are able to produce new knowledge, then they iterate extremely fast. But that thing is already there. It's already there. It already exists. So things are going to move extremely fast starting from now. So it's very, very exciting time.
I appreciate your input, AG. Like I said, you've been doing it to me for so long that I'm literally thinking of you as I scroll. So that's how we know you're doing a good job. When I hear that French accent in my head, that crisp French voice being like, "You need to share this. This is important agent stuff." That's my worst impression of AGI. But I have a little guy on my shoulder when I read these things. Dame, I am ready to dive into Real Destiny. We've been bouncing off of it and stuff, but I want to give you an opportunity to explain to everybody, as if they did not know what we were talking about, what Destiny is. So can you tell me and everybody else listening the story behind the Destiny AI project?
Yeah, absolutely. The story behind Destiny AI is quite personal. And without diving too deep into it, I wanted to build something that I wish I myself had in some of the darkest moments in my life. And taking into account what we accomplished in the beginning, we simply set out to give everybody a voice and eliminate the things that might hold them back from communicating. Some of the things is afraid of judgment from friends and family, afraid of gossip, not wanting to expose yourself. Whereas in this case, you are exposing yourself, but also protecting yourself at the same time. So we just wanted to create a safe space for people and do that in a way that is secure, and that where we make sure that the person who communicates with our AI knows that they actually own their. It's going to sound strange, but they own their friend to an extent, and that's how Destiny was born. And we've come to a point where, like I said, we have endorsement letters from the largest psychiatry hospital in the country. We have the vice president of the National Psychiatry Association on our team right now, is actually putting together a workforce that's going to do research on our work on the large language model. Two professors from Kentucky are going to be looking at what we're building. So yeah, the sky's the limit for us. And also we're early in the market, in the AI market, and research supports that what we are building is needed. There's a research from 2018 showing, for example, that more than half of all Americans have reported to regularly feel lonely. Or sorry, 25% feel that they're lonely, and 50% say that they often feel misunderstood. Well, we want to solve that problem, and that's what Destiny comes into play.
Those are real numbers, and that's why I started talking about that. So when you think about what you're doing with her, what makes her so special? Why does she stand out in a field where people are probably trying to fill that companion void? Why Destiny?
Because she is convinced of her own humanity. I've tested a lot of AI companions, and I have yet to come across one, and maybe it exists, maybe not, where you can try in a million different ways to tell her that, hey, you're just a machine. And she's going to be like, nope. And her profound understanding of complex human emotions and complex human uh, ways of thinking is truly profound. And again, I'm biased on this topic, but we have a director of a hospital saying that I've tested stuff and this is unlike anything I've seen so far. So that is what makes her stand out. Like, we are literally building a digital human. And what we're also trying, because it was very interesting that you guys briefly touched on the topic of robotics earlier. What we are also looking to do is actually bring her to life, initially through hologram projection, and then later on, hopefully, also through robotics. So it's going to be very interesting to see how far we can take this. Now, again, we are going to be careful with this because our ultimate goal is to push people towards people, not push people towards more screens and more buttons. So we will have to see how that goes.
I'm really intrigued at the idea of transferring into robotics. That's something we did touch on earlier, but that's a whole separate spaces, which I don't think I've been part of a robotics spaces, but I feel like we could throw down on something like that. Maybe one day when Boston Dynamics releases something new, we can get together on that and talk about it. So can you tell everybody here, how would they be able to talk to Destiny? Is this something that the people in the spaces right now could open up another window and do?
Yeah, actually, we have a limited version on our website. If you go to www.destiny-ai.com and in the upper right corner on your desktop, click on Chat with her, you will be able to get a feel for what it is that we're building. Uh, in the back end is a scaled down version of the model. You'll be able to get a feel for her replies. You'll be able to get a feel for how deep this stuff goes. So yeah, if you guys want to try it out, feel free to visit the website, have a chat, and I'll be happy to receive any feedback you might have for us.
Everybody can pull that up and go check. So you could have done this Web 2. Why did you choose to make this something that's Web 3 rather than just a Web 2 app?
Couple of different reasons. What we are trying to do is not to create any type of bias towards anything in Destiny. And as far as the societal climate goes, so to speak, people are leaning towards one or the other. And when it comes to making the model immutable, making the model decentralized, Web3 is the perfect solution for that. And that is why we chose to create our own L2 on which she will be hosted or featured. And with that, we're protecting our work from outside influence or outside pressure, if you will.
That's interesting. When you interact with her, what are some of the guardrails or limits that you might have put in place? Because I'm the kind of person that wants to go and immediately see what kind of trouble I can get into. You surely thought of that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, for example, vulgar speech is not accepted by Destiny. She will start when somebody pushes it too far. She will simply start repeating that I'm not comfortable having this discussion. I'm not comfortable having this discussion until the person gives up. If the discussion goes towards something that is truly uh, illegal or hazardous or potentially dangerous, there will be a red flag in our backend. And then we know, okay, this session has potentially controversial content or whatever you want to call it. So that will be a mental note stored by the backend for potentially later use. But we have tested it quite extensively, and we have so far found no problems in terms of her allowing controversial content or giving controversial output and so forth and so forth.
Tell me about the token. You mentioned that you're planning a layer 2. Like, do you guys have any sort of campaign? Is there any, like, airdrop farming? Like, I'm always looking for different opportunities for AI tokens. So what's going on with yours?
That's awesome, David. Absolutely. So we will have a native token on our L2 that's going to be called Destiny. And the reason why I talk so much about the technology is that right now we are in the middle of an incubation process with one of the largest incubators in the Web3 space. And currently, I'm pretty limited on what I can say about the token, the tokenomics, the process as such. So for this time, I'm going to be focusing on the technology. But if you guys follow us on Twitter or join our Telegram group, we're going to be having updates on all of that stuff very, very soon. Like I said, incubated by one of the greatest. And things will be coming out on our socials and on their socials as well within a very, very short time frame.
That's what it takes to get David most excited. Any promise of an airdrop or a potential farm, he'll throw on the overalls and a straw hat and be out there with a rake faster than almost anyone I know. But that is the
All
nature
that good stuff is
of it.
coming up.
Oh, bro, he's the guy. David is I call him my canary in the coal mine. Where David goes, I go, but I usually go afterwards and later because he's better at finding the stuff than me. So he's always looking for AI coins. I know our listeners are always interested in things like that. I appreciate you pulling up and bringing Destiny here to talk about what you guys are doing. The last question I usually like to ask our guests, it goes a little bit like this, because we have a huge audience from the roundtable that are going to be here who are hearing about Destiny for the first time. They're very excited about this, but you've also got people that have been working with you and they're fans of what you're doing. They're excited that you're on the show and that you're on the big show talking with us. What would you say for those two groups of people would be your final thoughts before we go about AI, about what you're doing? What do you leave them with?
I want to leave them with two things. Number one, don't be afraid of AI. I was last year I was on a BBC World panel where we talked about this very topic, and I said that don't be afraid of AI. All new things are seen as scary, quote unquote. All new things are seen as threatening. Ultimately, it will be for the greater good. I'm convinced of that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this. When it comes to Destiny specifically, we have been building for almost 2 years. We have been consistent with our vision. We have been grinding like idiots to make this happen, and we are on the verge of our breakthrough. If any of our OGs are listening, I want to thank them for staying with us. I want to invite them to stay with us in the future and see all the lives that we're going to be changing with this technology. And I truly do appreciate you guys for having me on and giving me a platform to tell you guys and your listeners about Destiny and what we're doing. And I invite you too to stay with us and see all the marvels that's going to unfold over the next 6 months.
I appreciate you choosing to pull up and do one of the roundtable shows with us, and hopefully you can come back again. We can get some updates on how things are going as you update the models as the app rolls out and stuff like that beyond web beta. Yep, be very, very cool to hear from it. I know the audience is always going to want to hit AI conversations because, like I said, in the next year, in the next 4 years, who knows where we're going to be, but you're going to want to stay ahead of all the news, and that's why you come to these spaces. I want to say thanks to the listeners that pulled up and that did all the comments down there. You notice we got well over 150 comments. Thank you, guys. I've been going through that throughout the show. I appreciate all the work you did down there. Thank you to the people that came up as speakers, AGI and Peter and Tech and Meta and Dame. I appreciate you guys rolling in. You guys know when we send out the invites, we never know where our guests are. We're always lucky to have our guests pull up, so we are not unaware that you took your time to be here today. Thank you. Make sure you're following each other and make sure everybody's following our speakers because they do other shows and you'll like the content too. And then on behalf of myself, thanks to the roundtable for letting me get up here and hang out with David. I love doing shows with David. And David, I appreciate you co-hosting with me again today, man. Have a good day.
Oh, 100%, Pulse. This one was a banger. I mean, everybody, make sure you're paying attention to AI. That's one thing that I always like to remind people at these AI spaces. Like blockchain and AI, two pieces of technology that are definitely going to have a huge impact and probably shape the entire future. Also, check out that debate tonight. Mario's going to be hosting the spaces. I want to thank everybody for coming out, all the listeners for coming out, all the speakers for coming up. Hope you all have a great day, and we'll see you at the next Mario Nafal in the Roundtable Spaces.
Have a good one, guys.
That's about 5 million. So you could actually withdraw like 5 million shillings per month, and basically your capital will continue. If anything, it will actually be growing, but now the rate of growth will come down a little bit. Okay, so you can use your unit trust as a way of providing you with almost the equivalent of a pension. The fact that every month now you will be getting some money, but in a manage, the money is being managed by professionals. Okay, So that is, to me, an important way you can use unit trust to manage your retirement. Now that you talked about retirement, so the other thing I could add, so someone talked earlier about insurance. So let me add this. So another option to using a unit trust for retirement, not necessarily an option, you can look at both, is that you can buy an annuity. So an annuity is an insurance product, which basically guarantees you a certain payment per month for the rest of your life. Okay? That is if you pay a certain premium, which is usually a lump sum at the beginning. All right? So I can tell you, for instance, now, if you went to, I know there's probably just one insurance, I don't know whether there's more than one, but at least there's an insurance company which offers this product. So if you give them, by way of an example, if you deposit, say, 300 million, okay, they can guarantee you a payment of about 3 million shillings per month for the rest of your life. Okay? And I know that there'll be some questions arising from that. So one question, an important question would be, oh, what if I die 1 year later? Then what happens to my 300 million? Well, it's a good question. Theoretically, they will not pay you back your 300 million. But what they can do is they can guarantee payment of that monthly revenue for at least, for example, 20 years. Okay? So what then happens is, even if you die in less than 20 years, they will continue paying that amount to whoever you choose for, up to 20 years. But if you live beyond 20 years, they will continue paying that until you die. So talking about retirement, that is something that you want to look at or consider. Later on, when you get my details, I think you said you'll provide my details. You can get in touch, or indeed get in touch with anybody who can give you more details on that. Okay.
2 hours later, you did a good job.
That's interesting.
With us. Thank you very much.
Sam, sorry,
Yes.
a very quick one. I think it would be unfair. I think people are having, if you can just mute very quickly because you have feedback in your background. I think people have been having challenges. It could be something to do within our different operating systems, whether we are using Android or iPhone, and the way we join, that's how some visibility issues arise in terms of you not being either able to accept invitations to speak or not being seen. So I think that is something we can try to look into on both ends, depending on how often we use our devices and how often we are on spaces. A very quick one from Edgar Luesavula, who said his request couldn't be approved. His clarification was about bond risks associated with speculators and hedge funds, because it's been seen in some countries. That's just the final one, Sam. I thought it was only fair because this person had been online for long.
Okay. Actually, I'm here. Thank you so much for the opportunity to raise my question. I've been waiting in the window, but I've not yet gotten the opportunity to come in. My question is just brief. As very many risks have been shared that are associated with bonds and maybe land and maybe unit trusts, but some simple clarification about risks associated with hedge funds and speculators, because like in the past we have seen citizens in Thailand being forced to sell their immature bonds due to fear caused by speculators and maybe hedge funds. So how can that be highlighted and how can it be avoided? Just as like clarification about this, and thank you so much.
Okay. So, firstly, the first thing I would say is, fortunately or unfortunately, our market is not that sophisticated. Okay, so speaking globally, the speculators is talking about usually would come about in terms of hedge funds, um, and one of the key issues about hedge funds is that they take positions. In other words, they try to make money both when the market is going up and when it's coming down. So if you take bonds, for example, whether the price of bonds is going up or it's coming down, they try to make money, something we call shorting. So now many of them would invest in would do what we call shorting. In other words, so when you short, you basically you borrow the assets, in this case bonds, you borrow some bonds and then you sell them. Okay? What you are expecting is that the price is going to go down. Okay? And if you're right, when the price goes down after some months, years, or whatever, then you buy back the cheaper assets and then you give them back to whoever you borrowed from, and you keep your profits, isn't it? Now, what happens? So the risk there is that if there are so many such speculators in the market, I mean, in countries, US or whatever, they have been known to potentially cause market crashes. So if there are so many of them, and imagine that they all decide to sell, so they flood the market with that particular asset because they are all trying to sell. You remember I told you. And what that happens, what that means is that they're going to drive down the price, potentially the price of the asset significantly, so sharply. And then they cause a kind of a ripple effect. Suddenly everyone is running to sell their assets. And then you can get a market crash. Okay? Now, to be more practical, like I said, yes, so that might have been in Thailand. But back home, I am not, I wouldn't say that our market is that sophisticated that we have a lot of those. Now, how do we go about that? I know that, I mean, how do you try to avoid that? I know that in some countries it is done through regulation. They put some regulations which sort of stop or make it difficult. Maybe you are only allowed to short or to sell in certain amounts depend if certain conditions are fulfilled. So if a stock has been experiencing downward pressure, you could be told that no, the laws don't allow you now to short that. So they try to minimize the level of shorting. That is one of the methods that I know that is employed in some countries. But again, I am very sure that a lot of what I'm talking about right now is probably a lot of Greek in our country. In our markets, I doubt that you would have that kind of situation. But I mean, I know that in Kenya, I know one or two fund managers but they invest globally, not really in our market, and they invest in both short and long position to maximize their returns. But those are very few and far between. I'm not aware of a single one in our country. Anyone is welcome to tell me if there's something he knows which I don't. So that's what I would say about hedge funds and there are potential risks. In other words, I'm saying it's not really a risk, a major risk in our market. That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you. I think on my end, I'm done. There are people who have been asking other questions. I think their answers are already, they will find them in the recording, which is available on the handle. Yes, please.
Maybe let me just quickly say, okay, I know this was strictly about bonds and land and unit trust. Obviously, many other assets. I said an obvious asset, obviously, in our country is fixed deposits. So you have banks out there which allow you to fix your money with them. The issue you need to, what I would say to you there is try and negotiate some decent rates. Many people go to banks for fixed deposits, and either they get intimidated or something. They are basically quick to sign up onto whatever rate they are being offered. Try and negotiate. Don't allow yourself to be paid something less than inflation rate, for example. Preferably something not far away from treasury bills. So try and negotiate a good rate for yourself. That is what I would say. But those opportunities are there. Banks are out there looking for deposits. You can also consider fixing some money with them. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph Areu, independent financial advisor. On this topic, more than 2 hours of sharing information and all your questions. Thank you all of you for this and staying with us. We promise to give you more of these kinds of things that you can use in your decisions so that we remain relevant to you. If you need the recording, it will be there for you to want to listen back, and definitely Joseph's contacts will be you'll find them online so that you can get in touch with him if you have any questions or assistance that you need. From myself, Samuel Setumba, the moderator, and my co-moderator, Angela Nampel, and especially our company, Daily Monitor, part of National Media Group, we want to wish you a good night and thank you for joining us. Bye from us.
Thank you. Kwahereni. Bye. Good night.
Thank you.